Welcome to the Honorable Judge Gregory C. Pittman Show, live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and live on 103.7 The Beat. You made it to cyberspace and social media.
I don't know how to get to none of that.
Oh, no, your statement last night when Attorney Breonna Scott asked you about your social media presence, that was funny.
Man, I am so intimidated by this social media thing, man. But you know what? I'm going to get it together, PA.
You might have to.
I got to.
Yeah.
I got to. I'm going to have to, brother.
Yeah. I know it's time consuming. It could be mentally exhausting. But
so let me share a little story with you. So the last time I had to be in a campaign, a real campaign, was in 1998 when I first got appointed, right?
Okay.
And this is how long ago this is. Back in 1998, everybody didn't have a cell phone, right? I didn't have a cell phone. I fought tooth and nail not to have a cell phone. I didn't want people to have that kind of access to me. You know what I'm saying? And I decided, my campaign manager, who's going to be my campaign manager again, said, "Listen, man, you need a cell phone so we can stay in contact, because you got to be, you got to do a lot."
Right.
That's when I got my first cell phone in 1998. So I was talking with my wife last night. I said, "Well, here I am being drugged, kicking and screaming into modern day, because now I got to get on social media."
That's funny.
Because I don't have a Facebook. I mean, I got a Facebook. Everybody got a Facebook page, but I don't do anything on social media or Instagram or Twitter or anything like that. But now I got to do it.
And you got to get a TikTok page. That's where everybody. I don't have one, but for a guy like you, I mean, your daughter is a movie producer.
Yeah,
you can drop some videos on TikTok every other day.
Cherish is gonna take good care of Dad. That's my media mogul.
Yeah,
she's gonna take care of that business for me, man. I see Jennifer Sharp's hollering at me here.
That's right. Yeah. Hey, Jennifer.
That's my girl, man. Yeah.
Judge, great job yesterday. I want to say great job. I haven't seen you in that kind of form because it's been a long time, like since you had to be in this type of environment. But you good. You still sharp. You can get kind of feisty, but you sharp.
Yeah, well, listen, man, this is serious
Spartan defense on you. I saw that Spartan defense on you.
Yeah, man, this is serious business. If we're gonna do it, we're gonna have to go ahead and do it, right? So,
right.
I'm in it to win it. I certainly don't intend any disrespect to anybody, and I don't think I was or will be. But by the same token, we are competing for one thing, and only one of us can get it. And it's my intention to be the one to get that. So, that's the way we're going to roll with it. But listen, let me say this before. I know we only got a half an hour here, but I want to thank you, and I want to thank Jennifer Ross.
Yeah.
I want to thank Rob and 8-9, and all of your interns. I want to thank Brianna, who I thought did a marvelous job.
Yes.
Matter of fact, we just finished a trial together. She had a trial in front of me this afternoon. So she took care of business last night and then came on into court and took care of a client today in front of me. And that's incredible professionalism, and I respect and honor that. But most of all, man, I want to thank you. You provide an incredible service, I say it all the time, to this community, to give information and opportunities for people to be heard. And just about every candidate showed up there just because of the credibility and respect that you have garnered over these 20-some years, in the way that you make this a public forum, a place where people can be heard and hear and be able to make good decisions about their own lives in our community. Thank you.
Thanks, Judge. Thanks, Judge. Judge Hoops. I, I dropped the ball. We dropped the ball because we didn't know how to reach him. So I just took a chance and called Judge Hicks' number.
Because that's now Judge Hoops' number.
Right, right. So and so he didn't find out until yesterday.
Yeah.
And still showed up.
He's a good man.
Yeah.
He's a good man.
Very impressed with that.
And he's going to be a good judge for us here in the 14th Circuit Court. And I am so grateful to have him. I think I made it clear that I certainly was rooting for Brandon.
Right.
But that is no slight whatsoever to the professionalism, the competence, and the decency, the integrity and character that I know that Ken Hoops brings to our 14th Circuit Court. Proud to work with him.
Yesterday, you made a statement. You cleared the air. You made it pretty clear what your opinion was about some things that have been circulating,
Yes.
allegations, and I don't know if you want to talk about it now. I don't know if you want to wait to talk about it, but I think it was at the right time for you to talk about it there.
Yes.
And I think it resonated in. I think our listeners, even though we were live on radio, they need to hear this on the Judge Show, because I too have heard, it's allegations that you had told a candidate not to run for judge.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, PA. I thought that the forum last night was probably the place to respond, because it's been circulating, I think, for some time. It has gotten into a number of different places, and in this kind of a climate, it can have really negative and deleterious effect on me. To be very honest, it poisons the well of my credibility, of who I have tried to be in my public life over these now more than, I've been on the bench 24 years, but I've been in the public domain as a difference maker, if I could use that term, since I returned back here from law school. And I have worked very hard to avoid the landmines and the pitfalls that are thrown in your way all the time when you raise a profile and you try to speak truth to power, and at some point you become power. And I say that with as much humility as I possibly can. But there's no question that I have a responsibility that is of some magnitude in this community as the chief judge of the 14th Circuit Court and the probate court. That's no small thing. And to get there, you have to carry yourself in such a way that kind of keeps you above the reproach that people are naturally looking for when you gain that kind of status. And there are people out here in this community who know better. There are people out here who are being very purposeful in, I would say, if I'm being very generous to them, the misperception, the misinterpretation. And if I'm being a buck about it, if I'm being 100 about it, the flat out, complete, unadulterated lie that I would utilize my stature and my position to be the drag on another person's right and ambition to seek promotion in their life, in their professional life. you know, I'm not going to stoop to the idea to say, well, y'all know me, but you know me. That's not me. That's never been me. I have never been that person. Now, if the idea is that as I speak what I believe is my truth about things and circumstances and situations, and it does not necessarily line up with what you think and your truth is, okay, that's where we are. But it can never be said that I purposely set out and attempted to stop somebody from doing what they have the unadulterated right to do. Uh-oh. Looks like,
Yeah. Yeah, we still here though. Lost your video, but you're still here. Your
okay.
audio.
So I thought that at that point I needed to address that. And there will be people who, you know, what I say won't resonate with them because they may just decide that that's what they choose to believe. But I had a number of people approach me after the event who said, I heard that. And I am so glad to hear what you had to say this evening, because that doesn't necessarily line up with who I've always thought you were. And now you have given voice to what I thought, but had not had an opportunity to hear just yet. So I'm grateful for that opportunity. I don't mean anybody any harm, PA.
Right.
You know, that's not the way I've lived my life. And I don't think God would allow me the blessings I've seen in my life if that were the murkiness that, you know, that resonated in my heart, that I am purposely out to hurt somebody. Now, every now and then you're going to run across some folks and some damage could be done, but it's not purposeful. It's a part of maybe a situation that just could not be helped. I don't know.
Right.
But there are people who are doing this with the motive in mind of trying to denigrate and diminish me in the effort to establish, promote, and support somebody else. And here's what I really want to say about that, PA. As a judge, I think, and I said it last night, the only thing we really have when we come to this business is our character and our integrity.
Yeah.
If the people who come into my court cannot believe that I am a man of my word, that I have, few, if any, ulterior motives, and that those things that I decide and say and do are done out of the best possible motive, and I don't live and I try to live a reasonably clean life, then I think they can accept the rulings that I make, regardless of whether they like them or not. But when you start messing with people's integrity and character in a position like this, then you are creating a roadmap for all manner of foolishness, and Lord knows we've seen enough of that. Second thing I would say to that is, if you aspire to be in the position that I've been in for 24 years, a part of the judiciary, which I think is a incredible honor. What does it say about your integrity and character if it is allowed to be spoken on your behalf that these are things that are true and they are not true? Here's what I'm saying, PA. I got to conduct a campaign, and we won't talk a lot about my campaign today. But the one thing that I can guarantee everybody who's listening and everybody who will encounter people who are supporting me is that they will say things that are consistent with what I believe. And if they don't say those things consistent with what I believe and who I am, they won't be part of my campaign for very long. And I will disavow any acknowledged and understood mistruths or misinterpretations as quickly as I hear them. You remember the example of when Obama and John McCain were running for president in 2008. And John McCain was at a campaign event. And the woman stood up at that campaign event, got the microphone, and railed on and on about, the deficiencies of our president, Obama. And she said, and he's a Muslim too.
I remember that.
And John McCain stood there flat-footed in that moment. And instead of allowing that narrative to take hold because it was expedient and served an ulterior purpose for him, John McCain looked that woman in the eye and said, no, ma'am, we're not going to do that.
He's a good man.
He's a good man.
Yeah. He's
a Christian man. He's a good family man. And although we disagree greatly on a number of things, I'm not going to allow that to be said about him here.
Much respect for him, man. Much respect for John. Hey, Judge, I want to take a break because people did not tune in on Facebook and YouTube to see my face.
Well, they sure don't want to see this one.
No, they tune in to see. They see mine all the time. They tired of mine. So I could take I got a couple PSAs we can run to. You can. I know the county paid they internet bill, so I know we should be good. We'll take a break and be right back. Back on the Judge Show.
America, land of the free. It's at the core of who we are. Freedom. The freedom to live without fear, to drive through all 50 states, to sleep safely in our own beds, the freedom to jog where we please, to watch birds in the park, to wear a hoodie, the freedom to breathe. Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because no matter your religion, gender, disability, age, race, all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
The wait is over. The all-new Umoja Radio Network, home to over 40 Black-owned radio stations and podcasts, is here for you. Connect to the world's fastest-growing collection of unapologetically Black and proud media, from podcasts to independent Black-owned radio stations, and access to the important news and music you need. Umoja Radio is from our culture, by our culture, for our culture. The all-new Umoja Radio is available right now on Google Play and the Apple Store. Join the movement. Be empowered.
All right, we're back with the Judge Show. I guess we didn't get that video working, but that's okay, Judge. You there?
Yeah, man. Sorry, but I don't know if something happened here on my end or not. But hey, man, I've always said I got a face for radio. So let's.
Right, right. Judge, is there anything else that you meant to say last night that you didn't get a chance to say in regards to the questions that might have been asked?
Oh man, there were such good questions, and it really was not a debate forum, so it wasn't sort of the forum that allows for rejoinder and reprisal and response and that kind of thing. But one of the things I would certainly say is that part of this campaign is going to be about the idea that there are people who are running who are going to talk about all the things that they intend to do when they get to the bench. And I think that's appropriate. They should. They should have aspirations as to what they believe should be how things work. But what I think will be heard consistently is what it actually does happen when you're in this seat. There are 24 years of experience in this seat for me. There are any number of things that I heard last night that there's no way these folks who are talking about these things are going to be able to make these things happen. I can't go into another judge's courtroom and tell them to do exactly what I do. It was said last night that we should all do everything the same way, so it's easier for attorneys and litigants to not have to figure out what's going on from court to court. Each of us is independently either appointed or elected, which means we have the autonomy to conduct our courtroom in the manner that we see fit. Why? Because you or the governor decided that what we said to you is how you wanted us to do those things. I don't have the authority to walk into another judge's courtroom and say, hey, you got to do this, that, and the other, just like I do. Now, what we do is try to be reasonable in making the general operations of our court be as normalized amongst us as possible to get that effect. That's why we meet. That's why we talk. That's why we come together and work on these processes. I heard the conversation that there are differences to be made in this community. And I believe that too. And I don't doubt for a second that any of those who are saying that really intend and want to make a difference. But the question becomes, what difference are you attempting to make now where you are? Where have you been on the spectrum of the differences that could be made other than becoming a judge? You're talking to a man here, me, that has been a school board president, founder of a chapter of charter schools. I've served on virtually every board in this community. I've been part of the Governor's Task Force on Children's Justice, appointed by Governor Granholm, reappointed by Governor Snyder. I have been the judge who was appointed by Governor Snyder to create the school to prison pipeline program that we call the STAY program, that has now been adopted by most of the school districts in this community. I am the judge who has been responsible for the reform of the juvenile justice system in Muskegon in 2016, where we moved from sending kids out of our community at the cost of anywhere from $300 to $900 a day to keeping them in the community and working more closely with their families to make it cost effective and to work on the totality of their environment to the tune of saving money to this community and increasing the connectivity of that child with their family. These are differences. These are things that have been done while I've been on the bench. I chair the Muskegon Oceana Community Action Partnership, MOCAP, which has been on the verge of being de-designated by the state of Michigan since 2014. We fought them off. I chair that committee, board now, and we're at the federal government level where they are now saying We believe that some of the things that the state did in the effort to de-designate you or to take your funding away from you don't fit with what the federal guidelines call for, and we're investigating that.
Wow.
That's what I'm doing. What I'm
Judge, how
doing,
far,
huh?
you just said a lot right there. I don't know if people understand the impact of MoCap and what MoCap was facing
Yeah.
when they was attempting to close it down. How far back is the state of Michigan going to go?
Well, this certainly goes back to 2014. We have been fighting them
Woo.
off and trying to get somebody to listen to us. We were successful finally in getting to the federal level, and they said, we want to hear what's going on. We're going to listen to this appeal because we think we've seen some things that are not consistent with what we think the state of Michigan should be doing. But let me juxtapose that against the people we're dealing with at the state level regarding MoCap is the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. I was just appointed by the director of the Department of Health and Human Services here to co-chair a statewide task force on the improvement of children welfare processes to make sure that children of color are not removed from their families at a higher rate than is supposed to be, and to open up the opportunity for what our families look like in the Black community, which is sometimes it's Miss Johnson who takes you in and takes care of you for the rest of your life as a child. I am the co-chair of that statewide task force. Let me say that again for a little effect. I co-chair a statewide task force. We're going to produce reports, monitoring, recommendations, and funding to affect the child welfare system in the state of Michigan. Now, that's who I am.
Wow. That's big. Judge, we got a few more minutes. I want to ask you a question it was posed last night. It might have been in the other segment about sentencing guidelines. Do you how important is the probation officer's PSIs in your opinion, or do you look at it? Do it matters? What does it weigh it when
It's
you come down
crucial.
to sentencing?
It's crucial. It is absolutely crucial because that is essentially the the primary roadmap for that judge in the sentencing of that person. Let me share a little historical perspective. I sat there and I was kind of whispering this in my wife's ear about these things. Sentencing guidelines came into effect in part due to some of the sentencing behaviors that were occurring right here in Muskegon County.
Oh, wow.
There were judges back in that day who were all over the place in how they were sentencing people who were convicted of the same crime. And what came out of that was, I think, the rightly intended idea that if we create sentencing guidelines, we take away some of that discrepancy and disparity in how one person is treated for the same crime as another person is treated for the same crime. Here's where we have to stay vigilant. The people who write the sentencing guidelines, what do they look like? Where do they come from? And what do they consider to be important factors? Because it still has to be culturally and socially and communally informed in order for it to have validity from community to community. And those sentencing guidelines come from some adult, some human being and how they see the world. Who are the people who are looking at this world of sentencing? And I think that's fair game. I think we have the greatest justice system on the face of the earth in the United States. I say that everywhere I go. I also say that there are so many things that go wrong in this system that need to be have our attention, and we need to be vigilant about. And there's nothing wrong with that criticism of what I believe is the best system. The best system still needs plenty of work. We see that every day.
Yeah.
I'm in the system.
Right. Well, Judge, I know this is a condensed show today. Hoping we'll be back in a few weeks. I'm looking forward to, I don't know if there's any important laws you think we should know about, anything that's going on in the courthouse you think we need to get out before we close?
Actually, things are pretty kind of quiet on the legislative front right now. There's been a whole lot of movement with, raise the age type stuff. And we can talk about that in subsequent shows where we are now right-sized about who is a juvenile and who is an adult. I think we were a little off base in this state, and the legislature, I think, has taken a good step. I think there's some good legislation in place regarding the revocation of paternity and making it easier for people who have a legitimate claim that they may not be part of that child's paternalistic life, and how they can do that. So there are plenty of things we can get to, but I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to address what has really, really troubled my spirit and troubled my heart, that there are those who want to make me out to be something that I am not. I am what I am, and I may not be everybody's cup of tea, but I'm not going to let anybody just carte blanche say whatever they choose to say about me as a narrative and think that it will not be challenged. It will. And I would suggest that those who are part of that, you should stop that now. What you should do is recant and apologize. But I don't know if that's within your purview. I don't know if that's within your character. I don't know. That's up to you. That's a private moment for you. But what you should do is you should stop. That's an easy thing to do.
Wow. There's an African proverb says, one lie will spoil 1,000 truths.
Come on, man. Come on.
You can build your whole life up doing the right thing or trying to do the right thing. None of us is perfect. And all it takes is one simple lie.
Yeah.
And you're done.
Yes.
They try to make it done. And this community has allowed lies to circulate. Muskegon Heights is getting raided by the police department, and they going to jail. They up there stealing money and made the front page, and it came out.
Nothing.
It was crookeds.
Nothing.
But Dana Bryant name got destroyed.
Yes.
In the midst of all that.
Yes. Yes.
We've seen this pattern of destruction against black men in Muskegon. I've been talking about it. We've been seeing it in the public spectrum, and people who are hurt by black men would take that information and just run with it.
Man.
That's my opinion.
But what hurts is it comes from your own.
Yeah. Our people. Yes.
It comes from your own.
Yeah.
But you know what? We bigger, we better, and God always has the last word.
There you go. All right, Judge. See you in a few weeks, man. Love you, man.
Man, I love you too. And go on out there and do them big things. I know about one or two things you got going on. You a bad motor scooter, bro.
All praises. All praises to the Creator.
You a bad
so
man.
Are you though. All right, Judge. Take care.
All right, man. Take good care.
Yes,
Travel safe, brother.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep.